The world calls me cold-blooded and ruthless, bloodthirsty and cruel. I have trampled all blooming flowers, dyed the world crimson, crawled out of muddy ruins, overthrown noble powers with my own hands, and severed all old grievances. I have become the fiercest, loneliest, and most untouchable legend in the mortal realm. Yet no one has ever asked what I once longed for. All I wanted was a trace of stability, a lifetime of innocence, and an ordinary mortal life. I was once gentle and kind, pure-hearted, believing in worldly justice, warm humanity, and everlasting love. I abided by rules, humble and forbearing, thinking sincerity would be repaid with kindness, and compromise would bring peace. But this world always bullies the weak and fears the strong, and human hearts are endlessly fickle and cold. My gentleness became their weakness to exploit. My kindness became their excuse to trample on me. My tolerance only brought endless insult and desperate predicament. I have witnessed loyal families overturned overnight, pure devotion crushed into dust, upright men wronged while villains prospered, and sincere love betrayed into a fatal blade. The greatest pain never comes from swords and bloodshed, but from being pushed into the abyss by those I trusted wholeheartedly and being shattered by the world I strove to protect. Beneath the world's prosperous flowers lie decayed bones. Behind elegant worldly rules dwell schemes and filth. The so-called noble integrity is nothing but selfish coldness hidden behind dignified masks. The so-called righteous justice is merely chains made by the strong to bind the weak. On that day, I fell to the dust, ruined and disgraced, humiliated and wounded all over. Relatives abandoned me, old friends turned against me, heaven and earth offered no help, and no road remained for me. Standing in the ruins of blood, I watched the bright mortal lights shine, watching those who harmed me live in luxury and laughter. In that moment, I finally understood. Gentleness never brings salvation, and forbearance never guards a lifetime of peace. If the world is unjust, I will break its rules with my own hands. If human hearts are evil, I will build my own defenses. If blooming flowers blind eyes and the world sinks into chaos, I will slaughter all vanity and cleanse the mortal turmoil. From then on, the gentle and kind me ceased to exist. My innocence, compassion, and pure youth died completely in the blood and despair. What survived was a cold and decisive soul, yielding to no one, guarding every inch of my fate with blood and blade. I buried all tenderness, hid all sincerity, cut off all mortal attachments, and walked alone on this blood-stained road to the peak, with bones as my weapon, blood as my garment, and hatred as my shield. The world fears me, slanders me, and hates me, calling me mad, cruel, and unscrupulous. Yet they never know that I yielded and forgave countless times, only to fall into irreversible ruin again and again. I never wished to kill, struggle, or grow cold, but the world forced me to draw my blade, grievances forced me to be ruthless, and despair forced me to grow powerful. Along my journey, I have trodden on piles of bones, walked through the darkest corners of human nature, exposed countless hypocritical masks, and severed countless karmic fetters. I have never killed the innocent and kind. What I eliminate are hypocrisy, betrayal, oppression, unfair destiny, worldly prejudice, and all the ugly faces of those who bully the weak. Everyone says I am left with nothing but desolation after reaching the peak. Yet they fail to see that I already lost everything the moment I crawled out of the mud. I lost my family, my love, my trust, my innocence, and all my gentle hopes. Having lost everything, I have nothing left to fear. Having endured countless wounds, I am immune to all worldly pain. Love has long turned to ashes for me. I once believed in lifelong devotion and mutual companionship through storms, trusted the deep affection in others' eyes. In the end, I learned that the sharpest blade always comes from the gentlest palm, and the deadliest betrayal always comes from the ones we trust the most. Deep love is a shackle, sincerity is a blade, and obsession is a cage. I burned all past affection with my own hands, severed all foolish longing, and since then have no heart for emotion, no attachment for mortal bonds. For the rest of my life, I belong only to myself, my original heart, and my own path. The most absurd part of my life is my naive youth. The most precious part is my rebirth from desperation. I do not resent the world's cruelty or human coldness. I only thank the self who never surrendered, never sank into despair, and persisted stubbornly in the abyss of blood and bones. That desperate predicament taught me self-protection. That cruel betrayal taught me ruthlessness. That devastating past forged the decisive, unyielding me standing at the peak today. Now I stand above all mortals, overlooking the mortal world's vicissitudes and fluctuations. Those who once humiliated and betrayed me now bow their heads in fear and submission. I decide life and death with a lift of my hand, calm all turmoil with a single step. No waves stir in my eyes, no weakness remains in my heart. Others envy my supreme power and unrivaled freedom, yet no one knows every step I took to the peak was paved with blood and tears. Every trace of my calmness accumulated from endless scars and pain. I have slaughtered all mortal vanity and killed all worldly absurdity. With my icy resolve, I have exchanged a lifetime of unyielding freedom. The world accuses me of excessive killing and lonely coldness. Yet the prosperous flowers of this world should only bloom for the victor and fall for unwavering obsession. Walking through mortal storms, I have crushed vanity, destroyed falsehood, blazed my own path of survival, and forged my own glorious era with my own hands. From this day forth, all flowers fall to my slaughter, and all living beings bow to my rule. I need no one's preference, no one's salvation. I myself am the destiny, the refuge, and the only eternal glory of this world. Ordinary people always think that standing at the peak means fulfillment, that holding supreme power brings freedom from all worries, and that overlooking all living beings can erase all the pain of the past. Yet they cannot see the perennial desolation in my eyes, nor comprehend the deep-seated coldness in my heart. All the glory, love, fame, and peace that the world craves are easily within my reach. But these supreme worldly gifts are ultimately nothing but empty illusions to me. I have torn apart the injustice of the world, punished all who betrayed me, and flattened all thorns blocking my path. Yet I can never heal the old scars rooted in my heart, nor fill the tenderness and sincerity crushed in my youth. I often sit alone on the high platform late at night, with no one beside me, silent mountains and rivers and all sounds hushed. The night wind sweeps over my robes covered with wind, frost, and blood, blowing down fallen flowers and catkins all over the ground, desolate year after year. I watch thousands of mortal lights light up one after another, with warm and lasting mortal fireworks. Every lamp holds the perfection of a family, and every wisp of fire wraps the peace of ordinary people. Yet none of the thousands of worldly warmths shines for me, nor lingers for me. I am the master of all living beings, the victor of the turbulent era, and the revered lord of all, yet also the loneliest person with no home in this world. I never envy the perfection of others, nor crave worldly warmth. After half a lifetime of killing and struggle, I have long seen through that all worldly peace is a fleeting illusion. All deep affection is fragile and vain, and all prosperity will eventually fade into nothingness. Today, people bow and submit to you, yet tomorrow they may plot betrayal in secret. Today's blooming flowers and gentle years may turn into overturned blood and irreversible ruin tomorrow. I have witnessed too many lifelong companionships turn into hatred and confrontation, too many prosperous eras collapse into dust and ruins. Therefore, I no longer believe in eternity, warmth, or any unshakable worldly perfection. Some people try to trap me with tenderness, bind me with sincerity, and redeem me with companionship, always hoping to melt the ice all over me, smooth away my hostility, and pull me out of the abyss of killing to return to ordinary mortal life. Yet they do not know that I have long taken root in darkness, coexisted with sternness, and accompanied by blood and slaughter. Tenderness is never salvation to me, but a fatal weakness. Deep affection is never a way home, but a cage binding my body and soul. Having survived the most painful betrayal, the darkest despair, and the loneliest suffering, I have forged a heart of steel, immune to all worldly harms, and can no longer bear the disappointment of tenderness or the loss of sincerity. Rather than sinking and falling again, rather than being crushed by human hearts once more, I choose lifelong indifference, solitude, and killing. My life is filled with slaughtering flowers, breaking illusions, deciding life and death, and ruling heaven and earth. I seem invincible and unbreakable, but in fact I am already scarred all over and exhausted in body and mind. The world only sees my sternness of slaughtering all flowers and dominating all beings, but never knows that every blade I wield cuts off the obsessions of the past. Every slaughter buries the remaining tenderness. Every ruthless decision protects my scarred self. I refuse to soften not because I am inherently ruthless, but because I can no longer afford the price of tenderness. I refuse to yield not because I am paranoid by nature, but because I can no longer endure the outcome of compromise. The flowers of this world bloom warmly and gorgeously, yet also falsely and turbidly. They grow attached to power, prosper alongside schemes, cover filth with tenderness, and wrap corrupt human hearts in splendid appearances. When I slaughter all blooming flowers, I never kill the spring scenery, but eliminate the hypocrisy attached to worldly rules, the meanness hidden behind glamour, and the vain prosperity that entraps human hearts. I intend to dispel all the worldly chaos of hypocrisy, flattery, and reversed good and evil, and eradicate all the filth of bullying the weak and distorting truth by power. Even if there is no more spring or blooming flowers in the world from then on, I will have no regrets. I have heard that benevolent people redeem others and compassion benefits the world. Yet after half a lifetime of ups and downs, I only understand that evil must be punished, wickedness must be eliminated, and injustice must be corrected with iron and blood. The world yearns for gentle prosperity and peaceful years, but the prosperous era I forged with my own hands never relies on mercy and forgiveness, but on iron-blooded slaughter. I do not wish to be a kind saint saving all living beings, but a master abiding by my own original heart. All beings may respect and fear me, or resent and slander me. I accept all calmly. My prosperous age needs no worldly praise or empathy, only my unregretful heart and unrestrained path to exist eternally. In the endless years and vast mountains and rivers ahead, I will still walk alone between heaven and earth. When flowers bloom in spring, I will slaughter them against the wind and crush all mortal vanity. When all things wither in autumn, I will stand quietly on the high platform and watch all the worldly rise and fall. Mortal love and attachment, right and wrong, merit and fame are all fleeting clouds to me. I will no longer be moved by the warmth or coldness of human hearts, no longer melancholy over worldly ups and downs, no longer unwilling for the scars of the past. All the sufferings of the past have tempered my integrity. All the disappointments of former years have forged my peak. I was once dust in the mud, cherished by none, protected by none, fulfilled by none. Now I establish my own mountains and rivers, define my own destiny, control my own honor and disgrace, and redeem the rest of my life by myself. I need not rely on others' light, crave others' preference, or wait for others' salvation. I stand in the world with lonely bones, guard my heart with sternness, settle all situations with slaughter, and spend my life with obsession. No matter how prosperous the flowers bloom, I will eliminate them. No matter how noisy the mortal beings are, I will silence them. No matter how turbid the world becomes, I will purify it. For this life I have no worries, no regrets, no infatuation, no thoughts. I hold fast to my original heart, abide by my own path, and rule heaven and earth. Even with eternal loneliness and lifelong sternness, this is the supreme glory I have chosen and forged with my own hands.